Check, 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 check. All right. This is Ronald, and I am sitting at my desk in my home. That's right. This is just a quick little update for you. And actually, I don't know how quick or how long it's going to be, but I just wanted to be honest, I didn't want to go 2 weeks without an episode. And that's what was about to happen until I decided, hey, why don't I give the listeners some updates about what's going on in my life and why we missed a few weeks or why we missed last week and almost this week. So for those of you that pay attention to the Instagram or kind of know me in life, you know that work is kind of picking up outside of leaving the theater. And let me just cut to the chase. Leaving the theater is not leaving. It's not going anywhere. But what I'm telling you is that the good things that are happening outside of leaving the theater are starting to have an impact on leaving the theater, meaning that I just need to be more proactive about planning. For instance, last week, I went to a conference in Seattle called FatCon, and I was there to promote, wait for it, the other Oh It's Big Round Studio show that I hope that you're listening to. And if you're not, you should go and check it out as soon as you can. And last year, I want to say between September and December, I was like just straight traveling for about from September. I think I went to like 7 or 8 different places: Minnesota, Boston, Richmond, just all over the place. And like I said, last weekend, I was in Seattle for a conference, and I thought I would watch the movie and be industrious and edit while I was at the hotel. And it just didn't work out like that. Like, I saw a movie and I'm like, I did not feel like doing a recording afterwards. And so I didn't. And then after that, I was like, well, then I got to record it and then I got to edit it. And I was like, I don't want to do any of that. I am away at a conference. I want this work to have already been done. And unfortunately, it wasn't. And based on the way the movie came out, I wasn't going to be able to see it in time. There's also scheduling the screenings, which gets kind of tough because I have to figure out when a screening is going to be, when the episode's going to come out, and make sure that that coordination is done. So what I've started doing is setting aside Sundays to when I edit the episode and put it out on, and it comes out on Sunday at midnight. And I took that time today to actually sit down and kind of plan out the rest of February. And what I discovered was that in February is kind of a light month for new movies before we start getting into March and things start picking up. And before you know it, we'll be in April and then in summer movie season, and we'll be trucking along. So I just wanted to reassure you, the listener, if you stay tuned to the feed, an episode is going to come out. Episode is always going to come out. I might miss a week here and there, but an episode is going to come out. And I might miss 2 weeks in the future, but an episode is going to come out. It's just tough with travel and not planning ahead. I can drop the ball sometimes because, again, y'all, it's just me. It's just me. I record it. I plan it. I record it. I edit it. I post it. It's just me. I promote it. It's just me. So when you see stuff happen like that, just assume that something went on and I just missed a week. It's not the show's going anywhere, anything like that. It's been tough. And because I'm traveling more, it is possible that in the future I might miss more weeks. So in order to kind of alleviate that, what I might do to prevent that is start running past episodes. And it's not going to be something that happens all the time, but every now and then I'm like, we have over 200 episodes of Leaving the Theater. Every now and then I think it's not bad to go to an old one and bring it back. And maybe it's on streaming and you could check it out. Maybe you missed it. Maybe you heard the review and was like, oh, I don't want to see that. But now it's available for you to see. Maybe you want to check it out and see if I was right or wrong, or if we align in our opinions on the film. So I think it's not a bad thing to run those reruns. And that might happen in the future, especially on times when I'm like, I'm not going to be able to see a movie, but I want to get something out and I want to keep the feed active. And I want y'all to still, have something to listen to, even if it's not something brand new. Again, that's not going to be the standard. It's only going to be kind of a stopgap measure when I'm traveling or have to be somewhere. So I don't want y'all to be like, oh, great. Now it's just running through the beginning of 200 episodes of Leaving the Theater. That's not the goal, because I love going to movies. I love putting up new episodes. And it's become kind of like a meditation on Sundays where I'm just working on this episode, putting it out. And I feel very good. That's part of why I'm recording this now, is because I get to listen through, record it back, and give it to you once again. So I'm pretty excited about that. The other thing is, for the month of February, we have a couple of new movies that we're putting out. We'll do Captain America: Brave New World with a very special guest that I'm excited for y'all to hear from. And we'll do Love Hurts. But we're also going to go through a couple of the Oscar nomination films, the Best Picture nominations. We'll do The Brutalist, A Complete Unknown, and Nickel Boys. I'm not going to watch all of the Best Picture nominations. I just don't feel excited about this year's slate of films. And also, I used to do the thing where I tried to watch every Oscar Best Picture, and I feel like there was an air of superiority I had having seen all of them, be like, yeah, I saw them all. But then I just realized, like, that's just not even how I watch movies. I like watching good movies, and I like stumbling onto something that is going to be an Oscar nomination. But like the difference between what makes an Oscar movie and a non-Oscar movie for me is just so slight. Sometimes, not slight. It's, how do I put this? The articulation of an Oscar movie can be sometimes annoying for me to say, like, this is an Oscar movie, and those movies can feel like homework. And watching 10 homework movies is just not fun. And there's some good ones in there. You know, Anora was pretty good, didn't feel like homework. Doom, good, didn't feel like homework. Wicked, good, didn't feel like homework. But there's others on there that are just like, I mean, The Brutalist is 3.5 hours long. And I know everyone's saying it's amazing, but it's 3.5 hours long. And I've seen The Pianist with Adrian Brody, and I remember also feeling the same, like, wow, this is a very long and slow movie that feels like homework. And having to watch them all sometimes, especially when I don't feel like it, is tough. So, but we will get a couple of those in the feed before the Oscars come up. I believe they're on March 27th. Could be wrong about that, but I'll check that. So those will come in the feed in February as well. And then also for you Patreon subscribers, stay tuned to the Patreon this week. We have an update coming. I'm very excited. Like I said, I've been trying to shore up the content through Patreon. But again, there's a lot going on schedule wise. But I appreciate everybody that's joined. And I hope to get everything on a more regular schedule after this week. But I'm really excited to give you the piece that we're giving you this week. I want to definitely start experimenting with more video content on Patreon. It gives me an opportunity to kind of like exercise that muscle. And as I move eventually out of podcasting into more video-based content, I think this is a good proving ground, Patreon, to try things out with listeners that are like really dedicated. So I appreciate y'all that are joining the Patreon. And for those that haven't joined the Patreon, as I always say, it's not too late to join. You could join the Patreon. It's very, very helpful. It makes a difference. I know sometimes y'all are like, does this help? I'm like, yes, it makes a difference. It helps to pay for movie tickets, helps pay for gas. It helps there's editing software that I pay for. There's so many things that are paid for that are helped through extra income from Patreon. So it definitely helps. So if you're a part of that, I really appreciate that. It's just $7 a month. And some people do it annually, which is helpful, but that $7 a month is also very helpful. So for those of you that want to subscribe, you can go to patreon.com/Leaving the Theater or go to the link in our show notes. Leaving the Theater is going to continue. There's nothing stopping. Those are the announcements. There's no surprise. I just wanted to not leave the feed blank this week. And I felt like I do have a few announcements that I wanted to give you, the listener. So I appreciate all of y'all being here. I appreciate y'all continuing to listen to the show. And I hope that this continues to be a show that y'all enjoy. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, let me know. You can always reach out to me. I try to respond. Sometimes I get overwhelmed, but I try to respond as quickly as possible. So you can reach me on Instagram. Actually, I'm just going to run the credits, so you'll know where to reach me. So with that, Leaving the Theater is a production of Oh It's Big Ron Studios. I mixed this episode, and I've already given you the Patreon pitch, but get on in there. Patreon.com/Leaving the Theater, or go to the link in our show notes. Show art from Heather Wilder. Theme music by the mysterious Breakmaster Cylinder. For more information about anything, this movie, me, any of that other stuff, go to our show notes. You can find me on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, Threads, or Letterboxd at Oh It's Big Ron. That's at OHITSBIGRON. You can find out more about this show and other Oh It's Big Ron Studio shows by following us on Instagram at Oh It's Big Ron Studios. Leaving the Theater will be back next week. Thanks for listening.